Okay.
Good morning. I think it's very important for all of us now to have an understanding about the contemporary developments which are taking place in India. In a democracy, it's important that we need to have an understanding on public issues, public concerns, and build up an agenda. And in the process, civil society gets influence. Role of the civil society is very, very important. Why is that I'm saying the role of civil society is very, very important? When unfortunately some of the institutions in this country, we're talking about legislature, executive and judiciary, are not sometimes effectively reflecting public opinion. And that is where role of the civil society becomes important. Now let us try to examine why such a big movement is going on in this country relating to the Citizens Amendment Act. In the first place, the way government brought about the bill is highly questionable. Unfortunately, for the first time, a parliament discussed, debated and passed a bill which is against the spirit of the Indian Constitution, against the spirit of constitutional morality and constitutional ethics of this country. Article 14 of the Indian Constitution very clearly says there cannot be discrimination on the basis of religion. The Citizen Amendment Act blatantly and very openly discriminates people on the basis of religion. That is why there is such a massive protest in this country. And there is a great deal that we need to learn from the activity which is going on in this country. Civil society is playing an important role. For the first time in Indian democracy, after a bill which has been introduced in Parliament, after it has been passed, there is so much of debate and discussion going on. And people of this country are not willing to accept Citizens Amendment Act. All over the country, there are protests going on. There are almost about 100 universities in this country where the movement is going on in a very, very big way. And it's a good sign for civil society in this country. It's a good sign for democracy in India. For the first time, youth are coming forward in such a massive way to oppose the bill. And what is that saying as part of this protest movement which is going on in India? They are saying people are supreme, which is what the Constitution says. The constitutional morality of this country, constitutional ethics of this country very clearly says, people are supreme. Parliament may have passed the bill. And there are several kinds of interpretations, which unfortunately are being given. Some of them are saying this is a Hindu-Muslim issue. This is not a Hindu-Muslim issue. This concerns the people of this country. This concerns the democracy of this country. This concerns the constitution of this country. And that is where the youth have been playing a very important role. Youth have taken up this issue in such a big way, saying that it completely distorts what the constitution of this country says. Constitution of this country talks about equality. Constitution of this country talks about equity. Constitution of this country talks about secularism, which would mean all religions are equal. And why are the people opposing? The government has been, first of all, they talked about Citizenship Amendment Act. Now they are talking about National Register of Citizens. And then they talked about for a while National People's Register. Why are these contradictory messages they are sending? It's deliberate. Why the people of this country are not accepting CAA, NRC or NPR? The people of this country have realized that this government is having an agenda. No longer a hidden agenda, it's an open agenda now. They have made it very clear through CAA, through NRC, through NPR, that they want to impose Hindutva agenda. They want to make this nation a Hindu nation and a Hindu Rashtra. The people of this country have realized, the agenda of the RSS, BJP government. That is why they are opposing. As I have said, this is not a Hindu-Muslim issue. This is an issue concerning secularism, secular values, democratic values. This is an issue concerning complete distortion of the Indian constitution. That is why when you look at 350, when we look at 370, when it was abolished, there was a movement in Jammu and Kashmir, and there was also a movement in the rest of the country. When triple talaq was abolished, there was some kind of a movement. But then when you look at, when they brought in CAA, there's a massive movement going on in this country. And now, the government is speaking in multiple voices. The Home Minister of this country, on the floor of Lok Sabha, said, we are going to bring about NRC. After CAA, Citizenship Amendment Act, we are going to bring about NRC. He made it very clear in the Indian Parliament. Now, Narendra Modi is saying, no, well, we are not very keen on bringing about NRC. Look at the multiple voices they are making. Primarily because of the movement which has taken place in India now. They are backtracking. Backtracking alone is not enough. Now people of this country are demanding Citizenship Amendment Act should be abolished. They should not be there in the statute books of this country. And which is a very legitimate demand. Because this government has no trust among the people. There is absolutely no credibility among the people. Why there is no trust among the people? There is a trust deficit of this government. Because they are speaking in multiple voices. Multiple voices. They talked about CAA, and they made it into it has become an act, and now they are talking about National Registration of Citizens, and then they're talking about National People Register. All these contradictions are reflected in multiple voices of both the Home Minister, the BJP government, and Narendra Modi. And now they are saying, well, we need all this data. Why do they need this data? Every 10 years, we have been getting census data. 2011 data is still there. Census data can be collected. But what kind of a data which is required? Why do they need data related to the religion? That is the basic objection the people of this country have. In Citizenship Amendment Bill, they only said we will only take people from Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Pakistan, belonging to other religions except Muslims. Why are they alienating Muslims? Why are they not including Muslims? Now the constitution of this country says that you can exclude Muslims. Why are they including only Christians, Parsis, other minority groups? They are also including Hindus. But what about other minority groups, particularly the Muslims? That is where the whole contradiction in the bill. That is where people are opposing. When we are talking about data in terms of planning, what we need is some kind of economic data. How many people are poor? How many people are upper middle class? How many people are lower middle class? How many people are below the poverty line? How many people have houses? How many people have pakka houses? How many people are going to school? How many children are dropping out from school? How many children are going to government schools? How many children are going to private schools? What is the nature of education they have? This is the kind of data they have. Do they have accessing public health? How many of them are going to government hospital? That is the kind of a data they have. Why are they having entire emphasis only on religion? That is where the big Question mark. That is where the big question mark. In fact, I would not call this bill a Citizens Amendment Act bill. This is a polarization citizenship amendment bill. They're polarizing India. They're dividing India on the basis of religion. That is where people of this country have got several doubts on this government. There's absolutely no credibility of this government because they want to polarize by introducing new legislation. And in the process of polarization, they're excluding Muslims, they're targeting Muslims. And it's also important to know when we talk about Citizenship Amendment Act, they've collected data as part of NRC in Assam. Now, what is the data which is available from Assam? 19 lakh people have been eliminated. Out of 19 lakh people, 5 lakhs are Muslims. And 14 lakhs are other marginalized sections, such as the scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, Adivasis, Dalits have been excluded there. The backward classes have been excluded there. That is what the data reveals. So when we look at the definition of citizenship itself, is going to be on the basis of religion. That is what the major objection is. I think it's also important to know when we are talking about these issues, for the first time, the youth of this country, the students of this country have come out and are staging a major protest all over the country. This is a very, very good sign for Indian democracy. And then, much more important than a democracy, this movement has been spontaneous. It is not. No one is behind this movement. Youth in colleges and universities are waging a major protest all over the country. And look at the speed and the scale of protest all over the country. From Madurai to Thiruvananthapuram to Hyderabad to Delhi to Mumbai to Bhopal to Calcutta, all over the country, people are protesting. And what is the essence of this protest? Commitment to the values enshrined in the Indian Constitution. What are these youth talking about? Or what are the other people who are talking about in the major protests which are taking place in the country? Youth and other civil society sections are saying, we are committed to the values enshrined in the Indian Constitution. What are the values enshrined in the Indian Constitution? Secularism, equality, no discrimination on the basis of religion. And then, of course, the social media has played an important role. That is why we are discussing today for social media in terms of trying to build up a public opinion. And that is why it's important for all of us to have an understanding of trying to see that Citizenship Amendment Act does not get implemented. No one is going to be participating in terms of now NRC. Already 11 states have made it very clear. We are not going to be cooperating in terms of collecting any data for NRC. And how is the government going to be collecting data without the cooperation of the state? Any kind of a data which can only be collected by the government by asking certain officials of the government to collect data, but 11 states are not going to be cooperating. Why are they not cooperating for the first time in India? Because they know that the data is going to be misused. They know that certain minority sections, particularly Muslims, are going to be targeted. That is why they do not want to implement it. So what is that we need to do now? The only one slogan we have: save India, save democracy, save secularism, save democratic values of this country, save the constitution of this country. And that's only possible when all of us participate, when all of us get together, try to protect the constitution of this country. In the process, we will save this country and protect this country from divisive forces. For forces which are interested in polarizing this country on the basis of religion. And for 72 years in this country, we have preserved democratic values and secular values in this country. We need your cooperation. We need your support to build up a public opinion, an agenda for this country to save the Constitution and save democracy in India. Thank you very much.